Silent treatment or discard. I am often asked how somebody is able to distinguish between being subjected to silent treatment or whether they have been discarded. There are clear similarities between the two, and of course, they are both instances which are common in respect of the narcissistic dynamic between our kind and the intimate partner primary source. Silent treatments come in essentially two forms. There is the present silent treatment, PST, and the absent silent treatment, AST. The PST manifests as us standing and glaring at you, but not saying anything, walking away from you every time you come near us. So we go to a different room, or we just sit in a chair and watch television, acting as if you are not there, even though we may speak to other people. Whilst the PST is unpleasant to the recipient, it is often used because it is a manifestation of cold fury. The PST is used by all three schools of narcissist, but is heavily used by the mid-rangers as part of their passive-aggressive repertoire. The advantage to us of the PST is that we can deploy it with very little effort, thus conserving energy. And also, because you are either in the same room as us or nearby, we gain significant proximate fuel from your upset, anger, or irritation. A PST's duration is less than that of an AST. This is because the fuel drawn from its application is strong, and therefore any wounding that you have caused will be addressed sooner. Accordingly, the present silent treatment may only last half an hour, and at most until the next morning, after you have endured a night in bed alone, as we slept in the spare room or on the settee. The short duration of the PST and the very fact that we are in the same room as you or same building means that it is clear that it is a silent treatment, and there is no discard. Indeed, the present silent treatment will not even be the precursor to discard. The PST has one function and one function alone, to draw fuel from you, and it is very effective in that respect. Turning to the absent silent treatment. This occurs when we disappear and you do not know where we have gone. We may head to a local bar for the night, book into a hotel, stay at a friend's, leave town, return to our own property, or head to the residence of the intimate partner secondary source that we are cultivating. The key components of an absent silent treatment are as follows. 1. We are not proximate to you. 2. You do not know where we have gone. 3. You are desperate to find us, be that because you are worried, upset, concerned, or angry. And 4. You will try to contact us. The absent silent treatment allows us to draw two types of fuel initially. The first is proximate fuel. Although we are not next to you, if we receive anxious voicemail messages from you, we read angry text messages demanding to know where the hell we are, mutual friends get in touch explaining how you have contacted them, worried sick as to where we are, and or we see you stood on our doorstep banging on our front door as we watch with a grin from behind the curtains, then we draw proximate fuel at witnessing your emotional reaction. Secondly, knowing that we have left you in a state of anxiety or annoyance provides us with thought fuel. Even if we do not answer the phone, pick up the text messages or voicemails, the fact that we see you are calling us will provide us with this thought fuel as well. Accordingly, the absent silent treatment is a low energy, high potency method of gaining fuel from you. We revel in knowing you will be pacing up and down, concerned as to where we have gone to. You will be ringing around friends and relatives, trying to track us down, and alternating between anger and upset. We have caused this in you, and this makes us feel powerful. There is a third fuel line to the absent silent treatment as well. The reason we opt for an absent silent treatment and not a present silent treatment is also because we use the time away from you to either spend time with a non-intimate secondary source, for example, our friends and family, and we are quite probably smearing you at the same time we are with them, and thus we gain fuel from them. But more often, we use it to cultivate the intimate partner secondary source that we are considering for promotion to becoming our primary source. The attention from this person or these people gives us additional fuel. We are therefore edified by this triple supply of fuel. No wonder the absent silent treatment is so tempting. We gain fuel, and we are also progressing the seduction of the new prospective primary source, working on embedding them. How long might an absent silent treatment last? It could be an afternoon, it might be a month, it might be 3 months. However, as the time period lengthens, this is when people begin to wonder if this is now a discard. The question arises, when is this behavior no longer a silent treatment, and when does it become a discard? Would it be a discard after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months? The answer is that you may have absent silent treatments which last those periods of time, and an absence of just 1 day may be the start of the discard. If we are drawing fuel from you, then it remains a silent treatment. Keep in mind that the potency of the thought fuel will only last so long, so we will need some proximate fuel, which means we need you to keep knocking at our door and ringing our telephone. Of course, since we are not engaging with you, how do you know that we are still drawing fuel from you and it is not in fact a discard? You could be calling us and it is actually a discard. So how then could you tell the difference? As you know, we will often not tell you that the formal relationship is over. We just discard without telling you. If you are trying to get in touch with us and you find that you have been blocked from our mobile number, we have blocked you on social media, and none of our friends can shed any light on where we are, then you should realize that this is not a silent treatment, but you have been discarded. Since we need fuel during a silent treatment, we keep the avenues of communication open, but we do not respond. Thus, we let you text, ring, drop notes round, send messages through friends, and knock at our door. This gives us the fuel. If you have been discarded, we have no need for your fuel anymore. Indeed, you may not actually be providing it, see below, because we are drinking up delicious, fresh, positive fuel from the new primary source. Accordingly, in that circumstance, we do not need to or want to hear from you. If you turn up at our door, you may be ignored, but more likely you will be confronted and be told in no uncertain terms to go away and leave us alone. You will be threatened with the police and restraining orders, or our lieutenants will turn up to warn you off. We don't need your fuel anymore, and we do not want you hanging around like a bad smell and posing a risk to our harmonious new relationship with the new primary source. Accordingly, a chief determinant between a silent treatment and a discard is whether you can contact us, albeit not actually get a response. If you can, it is silent treatment. If not, it is a discard. There will also be occasions where the absence starts as a silent treatment and then becomes a discard. This is where we have doled out a silent treatment to obtain fuel and bed in the person that we are seducing, and that seduction has been deemed to be successful. Hence, we install them as primary source. You are discarded, and the blocking will begin. The silent treatment shifts to become a discard through the period of absence. A further way of determining whether this period of absence is a silent treatment or a discard is to consider what has happened in the run-up to the period of absence. As I explained in the recording 5 Reasons We Discard, there are 5 primary reasons which bring about your discard. If you can ascertain that this has happened, admittedly it is not always obvious, prior to the period of discard, you will have a greater idea that you have been discarded rather than being subjected to silent treatment. Accordingly, if you have 1. Worked this out and reduced your fuel provision considerably, 2. Realised that there is a new primary source, 3. Become broken and numb so you're not functioning, 4. Caused a major exposure of our behaviour, or 5. Intentionally wounded us repeatedly through fuel-free criticism, then these are the reasons for you to be discarded. Of course, the reality is that there is no such thing as a discard. It is instead a disengagement. If you are the primary source, we are no longer interested in you, and it is as if you have ceased to exist, and we have, at the point of disengagement, no desire to interact with you ever again. Of course, this attitude changes at a later point, when we commence our hoovering of you, when we start our devaluation of your replacement. If you are an intimate partner secondary source, you will be placed on the shelf as we focus on the primary source, or another intimate partner secondary source who we think will make a better prospect for promotion than you. We eventually come knocking, and therefore this disengagement ought to be treated as a long period of silence, whereby you can recover and build your defences. Of course, it is more usually the case that you have no idea why we have departed, and in your confused and emotional state, you do not know the difference between a silent treatment and a discard. Now, you do.